that is something you can do. So those are the two documents I'll be looking at this evening. So the first, the Michigan membership trends, and this might be a little hard to see on the screen. When you do open the PDF of the membership trends, you're going to see 4 graphs showing Michigan's total membership numbers, which unfortunately have declined over the past 5 years. The number of new clubs that have been established, that has gone up over the past 5 years. The number of clubs whose members are less than 15, unfortunately that has gone up over the past 5 years. And then the number of clubs year to year with an increased net membership, that has actually declined a little bit. So this is a snapshot of the Michigan district as a whole. So this is what we look at Kiwanis International. This was also shared with Governor-elect Fran. Governor Sarah, excuse me, has this information as well. So this is a snapshot of the Michigan district. If anything, if you can see the 4 graphs, you don't have to worry about the numbers. There's been a decline over the past 5 years of members as well as net membership overall. The good part is thanks to some significant club opening efforts, the number of new clubs that have been added in the past 5 years has been higher, which is great, Now it's time to turn the other trends around. And it takes time. 1 year has an impact, but it doesn't have a 5-year impact. So as you get the chance to look at the 5-year membership trends, a couple things to keep in mind. These are only printed once a year on September 30th. So the document that we'll be looking at will have ended on September 30th, 2019. So the end of Larry's year when he served as district governor. So keep that in mind. If any membership changes or clubs that have opened or anything dealing with numbers after October 1st are not reflected on this particular report. However, I'll show you how to get the current membership trends as we move through this. It is a multiple page document. The cover page is the Michigan district at a glance, and that's what we just looked at, is those 4 graphs. And then as you flip the pages, which we'll show an example in a second, you'll see the divisions listed numerically, 1 through, I think it's 20 something for Michigan. You'll see the divisions listed numerically and then the clubs in each division alphabetically. It should make sense when you see it. The 5-year membership trends will include 5 Kiwanis membership years starting in 2014 and ending again September 30th, 2019. So you'll see what the club membership looked like on September 30th, each of those 5 years. It's a nice picture that it gives you in terms of club membership. There are 3 codes, and I've copied this on another slide, but there are 3 codes that you'll see about what is the club status. If there's an A next to the club, it means it's an active club, or it was on September 30th, 2019. Active meaning it's open, there's no issues either with the district or with the international office. It's an active club. CSD is charter suspended by the district as of September 30th. This would be if the district has taken any action or if the district has submitted to the international that this club is most likely going to close, but the board had not, Kiwanis International Board had not voted on it. That's not as common, CSD is not as common as a CR, which is charter revoked or a closed club. So any club that you see with a CR next to it, that club is closed and as of September 30th, 2019. So you'll see mostly A's as you work through it, and then a sprinkling of CRs, charter revoked, and then just a dash of CSD. I'm married to a pastry chef and he's baking right now, so the smells are crazy, so I may insert culinary terms as we're moving through this. So a sprinkle and a dash. So again, you're looking at a 5-year trend ending a couple months ago. When you get to your division page, so what I did is I took a picture of division number 1. I just went in numerical order. And this is the 5-year trend for that particular division and that particular lieutenant governor. So on your screen, going from left to right, will be the name of the club, the division number, and that's a K number that's assigned to us, the division name or number. Some of our districts actually use names for their districts. So where I am in Indiana, all of the divisions are named. So the Collegiate Division, the Wabash Division, the Indianapolis Division. So they're named by some type of landmark or geography in the state. Michigan, like many districts, just does numbers, sequential numbers. The next column over will show you the club status. And we're going to look at the Berkeley Club for an example here in a second. And then you'll see the membership numbers going year by year. So 2014, 15, 15, 16, et cetera. If there are no numbers listed in that particular year, that means the club was not operational at that time. So let's look at that first line, Berkeley. Couple of things that you'll notice. Number one, it's highlighted in red, which means the club is charter revoked. It is a closed club. At some point during this 5 years, that club existed. And when you look at the membership numbers, 14, 15, 15, 16, nothing. But it looks like the club was formed in 2016 and only lasted for about 2 Kiwanis years. It closed after the second year. So it closed in 17, 18. And that's where the charter was revoked. So that would be why, if you're not seeing numbers, it's because the club didn't exist at the time. So if you look a little further down, let's see. Oh, there we go. Detroit Kiwanis Club number 1. Detroit number 1 club. Their membership numbers have fluctuated. So 5 years ago, they were at 47, and then they dropped to 39, then 34, et cetera, et cetera. So this, as you read across, will just give you a snapshot. There is one club highlighted in green, Lac St. Clair, which is an active club. And the reason why it's highlighted in green is they have shown over 5 years a net membership growth. So even though they've dropped here and there, if you take the 5-year average, go back to math, if you take the 5-year average, this club has done a net membership growth. And for the lieutenant governor of Division 1, this may be a club to focus on in terms of, hey, you guys are doing some good things, let's keep it going. So we have highlighted a couple of clubs throughout the report to maybe give you a little visual cue, as to what's going on. If you tally the numbers at the very bottom of every column for the year, so in 2014-15, Division 1 had 226 members, then it dropped down to 191, up to 206. So you'll be able to see truly a 5-year picture of what your division's membership for the clubs looks like. And this will be repeated on the report division by division by division. So a couple of things remember to keep in mind. This is as of September 30th, 2019. So any membership changes since then will not be on this particular report. If for some reason the district has done any redivisioning after October 1st, for example, a couple clubs may be moved around, that will not be reflected on this report either. So anything after October 1st you won't see. And so that may be something to keep your eye out for. So I'm going to advance the slide here. So now what do I do with all of this information? I've got the numbers. I've got something to look at. I've got a pretty good sense as lieutenant governor. Wow, it looks like about Division 1, looks like about 75, 80% of my clubs, they're doing okay. They're doing okay. 2 that are charter revoked, might want to look at those communities again to see if there's a chance to reopen. So there's a lot that you can be doing with it. Sue, did you have?
Yes, you have the, I think it's the Southfield Club.
Mm-hmm.
That has purple circle around 2 numbers around the 15th.
Ah, yes. So there we go. Sorry, my Zoom windows were images were covering it. So I did circle Southfield. So Southfield was opened in 2017-18 with 15 members, and then has remained steady with 15 members. So the Southfield is an example of a club that has been opened recently, and that's okay, you know, in terms of membership size, but it might be something to keep an eye out for. Because in this particular division, we already have one club that lasted 2 years and then folded for whatever reasons. There might be some sacred cows that we just don't discuss. So thanks, Sue, for pointing that out. I appreciate that. So going back to the now what. So there is also a worksheet that is available for you to take a look at. And it is each of these questions as you look at your division. Oops, it says take a look at the clubs in your district. It should be division. There's a worksheet that you can download with lots of space to write, so it's not as scrunched in as this slide. But each of these questions is listed on there, and this is a great way for you to take a look at your clubs and just jot down a couple of notes. Which of your clubs has a strong history? What's the best thing that each club does? Which clubs are open to increasing membership? So this is a way for you to kind of look at the people as well as the community and the numbers. And we'll take a look at that worksheet in just a second. So I'm going to do a stop share, and then I'm going to open up the worksheet. Okay, so now on your screen you should see, right about now, you should see the worksheet if you were to download it. So take a look at the clubs in your division and then start answering the questions. As you work your way through the worksheet, you'll see at the very end an opportunity for you to list the clubs into 3 categories. And I did these using stoplight categories for a reason. So any club that's below charter strength at Kiwanis International is 15 or less members, 15. So that would be a red flag club. This club is below charter strength. We need to really focus on membership. Any club that's between 15 and 20 members, so they're above charter strength, but they're kind of in the danger zone. They're in that yellow warning zone. List those clubs there. And then any club that's above 26 members, put in the green category. Why the number 26? 26 is the average size of a Kiwanis club in the Michigan district as of this month, as of April 2020. So the average club size right now is 26 across the board. So if you were to look at all of the clubs in your division and break them out, you may get a better feel for membership and where we need to do some focus areas on. So again, hopefully this document is, this piece of homework is going to be a good reflection sheet for you, but this might also be something to share with your division membership team, especially if there's a chance to do some growth opportunities, or if you're not able to answer some of the questions. For example, who are the change agents in each club? Not necessarily the positional leaders. I define change agent. We define a change agent. Who's the people that have the most vocal influence? It may not be the club president. It may not be the club secretary. But if you want to get something done, who do you go to? Who's that change agent? So that may be a way to look at that. So I'm going to go back to the slide deck.
Brian, I missed one thing. This is Tracy.
Yeah.
All these statistics, I like this trend. Where did you pull these numbers from again?
Yes, I will. I'm about to show you. You're very close. Okay.
It's very interesting because we looked at this with our club for the 5-year trend.
Yeah.
And been around for like 103 years, and it's just crazy because we've had more people pass away because they were older members.
Right. Right.
So that was the biggest problem we had. So this is very interesting to me.
I'm glad. So these reports are not made public. We do give them to each of the districts, their leadership teams. So governor-elect, district secretary, and then they can disseminate them. But you also have this, as lieutenant governors, in the Michigan folder that we've been pulling documents and the PowerPoint slide decks from. If for some reason you can't get it, you can shoot me an email message and I can email you the PDF separately. And the PDF shows all of the divisions within the Michigan district. So you just need to scroll through. But again, this report's generated once a year. If you're interested in seeing the report after October 1st, just shoot me an email and say, hey, I'd love to see another trend, get a feel for what the trends look like. And I'll be able to pull that for you once it's ready. As you can imagine, it takes a lot of time to do this for all of our divisions around the globe. And so typically this report is ready by November 1st. We use the month of October to let the dust settle. The first 2 weeks of October, we put a freeze on adding or deleting members because we truly want to get a snapshot. We've let the dust settle. We do the moving around that needs to happen, and then we run reports. This is the year-end numbers, and then this is what the 5-year trends look like. So if you're ever curious to know what does our membership look like today, here's a quick cheat sheet to get you to do this. This is public information. It's just buried a little bit. So someone who's going to Kiwanis for the first time, if they want to find it and take some time, they can. So here's how you would find the current membership number. Simply just go to kiwanis.org, and in the upper right-hand corner of the home page, you'll see the phrase member resources. Click on member resources, and then you'll see a bunch of boxes. And the one you'll want is district reports. It should make sense when you get there. Oh, I'm looking for a district report. Once you get to district reports, you're going to see a lot of information in there, and all of that is public information. But if you want to see the membership trends, you'd click on the membership trends for North America, and then click on any of the districts, but I'm assuming you'd look at Michigan. And it'll pull up your membership trends for the Michigan district. They're updated on the 3rd of each month. We recognize that sometimes the 1st of the month falls on a Saturday or Sunday. So we will run the reports on the 3rd, and they get uploaded to the website. So if you're interested to see what your division or your district is doing today, you can go online right now to kiwanis.org, member resources, district reports, North America, or for that matter, you can view on any district around the globe. If you want to see what's happening in Switzerland, feel free. This page also has a lot of helpful information that we're going to go over in another session about Kiwanis resources. But again, if you're interested in the membership side, this is what you would look at. So that comes to the end of the 5-year membership trends and how you might use them. So what I thought I would do is just see if you have any questions, if there's something that you need, and also the invitation to please come visit our headquarters. That's a picture of the headquarters as viewed from the interstate.
Host is unmuted, all participants.
What does it say?
Host unmuted, all participants.
Does that look different? Did they put a wrap on the building, or is that on the other side of the building?
So this is without the wrap. So what you're looking at is the auditorium. All that dark glass is the auditorium.
Okay.
And it is wrapped right now. It says kids.
That's the back. That's the back of the building. Okay.
Yes,
there's
that's
a
the
new
back.
wrap. It's if you're on Facebook, it's out there. The new wrap.
Where is
Yes.
the building located?
Yeah, so we're on the north side of Indianapolis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're right off of 465 and Michigan Road. How appropriate that we are off of Michigan Road, the birthplace of Kiwanis. And we're open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can come in at any time, and you can get a building tour. You can meet the staff. We have postcards. We have building tour pins. If you do a tour, we'll be glad to give you a pin. And of course, the Kiwanis store is always open if you want to spend some money. We have a retail store right there.
Hey,
For
Brian?
Michiganders, I think it's really cool because there's a lot of Michigan rich history in there. Yes, Sharon.
In regards to your the 5-year membership trans activity,
Mhm.
how how would we use this? I'm looking at this, I don't know, everybody. Would I like call eventually when I get closer to meet with them and let's go over and see what I can do, how I can help? Is
Yeah.
that how you would use this?
That, and it's a good starting point of a conversation. Membership is the number one priority for Kiwanis. You could use it as a praise opportunity. I've just looked at the 5-year trends for your club, and wow, there's some great things happening here. What do you do? And that open-ended question, and find out what they're doing. You could also use it from that coaching perspective. It looks like your club has remained the same amount of members for the past couple of years. How's that working for you? Is there anything that you might think about? What's happening in the community? Are there new schools, new shopping malls? It's a great way for you to kind of play real estate agent with them.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Other questions? So if I can make a suggestions, one of the things I would do would be to pull down the document for evaluating your division and start taking a look at that. I know it seems like October is a long way away, right, Governor Fran? But it's going to be here very quickly, and depending on, I always look at it and go, if you're home now and looking for something to fill some time, here's a great opportunity to pull that information together. And then, if you do have questions on how you could approach a club, that's something that Fran or Brian could help you. I'm sure they'd do some role play with you and say, how do you, how am I going to talk to this club whose membership has gone from 27 to 9?
Yeah.
Or how do I have those discussions? And there are probably people on this call that can help you do that.
Well,
Yeah, Sue.
when would be a time that, because do we hold off until October, or can we start a little earlier? Because I already had someone follow up with me.
That's a great
And I was
question.
just wondering, this is great information. I mean,
Yeah.
I know how to do all of it. I just
Yeah.
don't know when we have that opportunity to go ahead, since we're still learning.
Yeah, I would. Fran, what are your thoughts on that one?
I hate to step on Sarah's parade and have her time, but I see where we could start talking, talk with your president, lieutenant governor, and maybe the two of you can talk to the people.
I've got a suggestion. Why don't you talk to the president-elect of each club, because that person will be the president when you're the lieutenant governor.
Mm,
That's a good idea.
Start building that relationship.
Okay.
that's a good
But
one.
I didn't invite.
real quick,
Do I know who the president-elects are?
Yes, well,
I do?
you should, on the secretary, is it on the secretary dashboard, the club election report?
Yes.
Coming up.
Okay. Oh, we're going to cover that soon.
But your current lieutenant governor could help you find that. They would know who your presidents are of your clubs.
There's not many clubs that already have their election results in, because it's not due until June 1st.
Right.
No, but your president-elect this year should have been elected last year to be president-elect this year, right?
Should have been.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's out there. So if anybody wants to know who the president-elect is for a particular club, you can get in touch with me and I can look it up for you, or I can show you where to find it.
I have a question about that. I know as a president, lieutenant governor, you have the lieutenant governor dashboard, and it is within those list of documents. I've looked at it. You can kind of dig out some things, but I didn't know where. I know you can. I forgot what you call it, but you can sort of mask yourself and go look through the secretary's report and all that as a lieutenant governor. Do the lieutenant governor elects have that same ability right now?
I'm not sure if the lieutenant governor elects do, and whoever's dog can say hello. That is awesome. That's awesome. I think you have to be in. I think you have to be in the lieutenant governor role to do the impersonation on.
Okay.
So
That's
so-
where you can get some of that detail.
Yes.
So you can talk to your current lieutenant governor if you want to talk to me, or then I can get it for you.
Yeah, it was like,
Dick,
when
you
in
have a
doubt-
question?
yeah.
Someone said something about June 15th being, for the elections being in. I thought it was May 15th. Which one is it?
As
Supposed
soon as
to be in by
possible.
June 1st, I think, at the latest.
Well, you kept, last week you were saying May 15th. What is it?
Just encourage them to get in as soon as possible. The reason we want them in as soon as possible is so we can put together the district directory. Kiwanis International can update their thing, and so we say a date, but it's not, just if they want to do it today, great. But
Well, in the past,
So
that's,
go ahead, Larry.
I'm saying, in the past, June 1st date was the date if you wanted to get points for distinguished in previous years.
And it is according to the
I was
from the district, it said June 1st.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say a good way to get to know your clubs is to try to find out if they're doing Zoom meetings right now, and you can invite another member, and it could be like an interclub, but then you can. I mean, I know all my clubs in my division, but it's a good way if you don't know your clubs to get to know the members on a Zoom call and to kind of introduce yourself and let them know that you're going to be Lieutenant Governor-elect. Or you are Lieutenant Governor-elect, I should say. So it's a good way. It's fun too.
Do virtual visits count as interclubs?
Yes.
Yes, as long as you have two.
Yeah. Great. So again, if feel free to reach out to me. My information is that's Sue's. My information has been on a couple of slide decks.
It's at the
we'll be up there
beginning.
next week too.
Yeah. You can always reach out to Sue, to Greg. When in doubt, call Greg. He's probably your one-stop shop for the district. As you're diving through the reports, if something's not downloading properly, if something doesn't make sense, I am glad to open it up with you and get on the phone and walk you through it from left to right, top to bottom, whatever you feel comfortable with. I'm kind of a data junkie. Of course, my husband starts vacuuming right now. Sorry, because there's probably flour all over the floor. I'm a data junkie, so I really like these things and enjoy membership analysis. I know some lieutenant governors, it's not their forte. They don't like it. They're more of the, I want to go visit the clubs but it's always nice to have that in the back of your head, what you're walking into. Wow, this club has got a trend of positive membership growth. I want to find out what they're doing well, or just the opposite. So that's all I have.
Okay. So I'll make a few announcements, and then we'll see Greg and Fran, and anybody else has anything else to next week we are doing Kiwanis International and Michigan District Resources again with Brian. So here's a great opportunity. This will be on Sunday. Work through some of your stuff over the next couple of days and go,
National and Michigan District Resources.
that help us next weekend, or in the meantime, feel free to email him or Greg or myself or Fran. We can help you out with that stuff. A couple things, we are moving all the documents from the SharePoint that Brian had set up to a Dropbox to make it easier. We have found that it's a little challenging to get our videos on that system and then to get our documents there. So very thankful to Brian for setting it up to begin with, but found that we're going to move to Dropbox. So I will send you the link to that in the newsletter. The newsletter did not go out on Monday. It's going to go out after we're done here. I wanted to make a bunch of changes on things, so I didn't want to dump everything in the newsletter before things. So we will get that out to you this evening. Kiwanis International staff, and Brian can add to this if anybody has any questions. Kiwanis International staff is calling all of the club secretaries. So if someone calls you and wants to know what's going on, Brian, why don't you tell us what you're doing?
Right, so we're doing an outreach call to all the club secretaries in North America. It's every single staff member, including our executive director. So we each have 54 clubs on an average that we are calling. And we're talking to the club secretary and just asking a couple of open-ended questions. How is it going? How is your club doing? Is there anything we can help you with? And in most cases, we're having to leave voicemail messages because our numbers are not typically saved in their phone. It shows up the unfamiliar number. But we at least leave a voicemail saying, hi, this is Brian from Kiwanis International. We're just checking in with our awesome club secretaries. We just want to know how things are going. We are getting some great conversations. We're averaging about 400 phone calls a day. Having some great conversations with our club secretaries. About 25% of those calls have led to a follow-up call. A club secretary has said, hey, while I have you on the phone, and we've been able to route them to the appropriate department. We've also been able to do quite a bit of cleanup of our roster. We have unfortunately found out a couple of club secretaries are no longer in that role, and this is the new person. Oh, we'll be glad to make that change. We're making the districts aware of any changes at the end of this calling cycle. We finish the calls this Friday. And so we'll be able to pull a report and send it to Greg saying, hey, Greg, here's any notes that we took about calls within the Michigan district. Here's any concern, any address changes. That way Greg can look at it and see what's out there. I would say aside from one or two negative people that we've talked to, the calls have been well received. They've been well received.
Very good. Thanks, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
So in case anybody, you should happen to hear from someone says, hey, somebody called me from Kiwanis International, what's going on? Or is it a scam? Or, they want my money. It's not true. They are calling to find out how people are doing. So, which I think is a great thing to do. Yeah.
Brian?
Yeah.
Does it come in as an 800-888 number or an area code number?
It's coming as an area code number, most likely Indianapolis area, because most of us are calling from our cell phones.
Okay.
So it should not as an 888 number.
When I got the call,
what's the area code it probably come?
When I got the call, it just simply said Kiwanis. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, they come through that way.
Yeah.
All right.
But they could come 317 as the main area code in Indiana, in that area. So that would be the main number. But there are some staff that have maintained, like we do, maintain our phones when we travel or move around. So there may be a different number, but since the staff is all working at home like the rest of us, it would be typically their home number or their cell. Okay, tomorrow night we have Operation Cupcake on our Let's Talk tomorrow evening, which will be great. The two young ladies that are doing that were former Builders Club members from the Pennsylvania district, are going to talk about a program that they're doing with Let's Talk, how to, it's a service project. It may be something that your club may be interested in doing. On May 7th, Laura Lee Estes, who is a professional licensed counselor and thanatologist, which is someone who deals with loss and grief, is going to do a seminar for us on don't freak out at the checkout, basically how to deal with COVID-19. So she's going to do that for us on the 7th. On May 14th, we are going to host a seminar or a webinar for the candidates who are running for Vice President of Kiwanis International. And May 21st, we're going to hold the trustee candidates for a webinar. And we have invited all the candidates, both trustees and vice presidents, to join us on those 2 nights that the Michigan district will be hosting that. I have heard from almost all of the candidates. And for those that are not on the same time or on the time zone, maybe 6 or 8 hours off, I've offered them the chance we could, do something ahead of time and pre-record it so they could do it on a little bit of their time zone. However, the one said, nope, I'll set up my alarm, I'll be there. I said, okay. So here's a chance to meet the vice president and trustee candidates if you should have any questions, feel free to forward them to me. We are going to give them approximately 90 seconds to introduce themselves. We'll do a round of questions a couple rounds of questions for each candidate, and then have a minute for them to give a closing statement on both the vice president and the trustees. So we're pretty excited about that. That could potentially be a very well-attended program. We can go to 500 people plus whatever we get on Facebook. So I'm excited about that. And then,
can you explain how the vote is going to happen for the
yes,
delegates?
I will do that. So since there is not an international convention, the bylaws call for what's called an international council. The international council is composed of the current international board, the current governors, past presidents, and the chair of the European Federation and the Asia Pacific Conference. So don't know whether that'll be in person. I'm guessing it'll be virtual at this point, but by October 1, that group will be gathered together to vote on the candidates. And the only thing that it will be happening this year is that group of people will vote and elect next year the next vice president and elect the trustees to serve on the board. The amendments that have been proposed this year will be postponed until Salt Lake City.
Okay, so when we listen to the candidates, then we need to let Sarah know what our views are on the candidates. 'Cause
Correct.
she'll be the one voting for Michigan.
Correct. Sarah and I will be voting. Actually, Michigan will have the 2 votes because Sarah and I will vote.
You'll have 3 with Gene. If Gene Overholt, it'd be 3.
If Gene goes there, right, there'll be 3. So we potentially could have 3 votes. Right.
Okay.
We're waiting to see, we'll wait and see, when they call that conference. It hasn't been determined yet. I know they're looking at a lot of different avenues because they have to do the same thing for Key Club and Circle K because both of their conventions were canceled as well for international. So I think it's great for anyone. Typically at the Kiwanis International Convention, you have an opportunity to meet the candidates and their candidates in the room, but you don't have a chance to really hear from them besides their speeches on stage, where we're going to ask them some questions. So like I said, if you have any questions you want us to ask, please feel free to send those on to me and we'll get that set up. So it will be done as a webinar. They will be panelists. So you will not be able to, they won't see you, they won't see the audience, and the video will be turned off so that we can just maintain the strength of the system and the signal with that. And then on May 28th, which is the last Thursday in May, we have invited Frank Palazzolo and Rosemary Robinson to a governor's candidate session, governor-elect's candidate session. So we will do the same with those 2. So if you have questions for them that you want to ask us. And the reason we have scheduled this one is that because typically they are at all your spring divisionals. And because there were no spring divisionals this year, they didn't, or not all the spring divisionals happened, they did not have an opportunity to talk with at the spring divisionals and talk about their goals and why they should be the next governor-elect. So we will hold that same type of session on May 28th for them. And then, of course, we'll start in June with additional sessions. We are working on a session right now on what should the next steps be and what will the new normal, not that anybody can project that, but some things for the new normal and things for clubs to look at and as they're moving forward. There's a lot of webinars and stuff like that going on in the association world. So that will be those groups. The newsletter will go out tonight. Talked about the Dropbox. I think that's all the comments I have for tonight. So Sunday will be, again, Brian will join us and talk about resources for the district. And then the session after that, I believe is headed out here. District committees, I will talk about district committees. Ron Hagan will join us on May 10th to talk about the Kiwanis of Michigan Foundation. May 13th, Jeremy Grinslade will talk about the Kiwanis Children's Fund. Michelle Studi Campbell will be back with us to talk about service leadership programs in May. May 20th is currently scheduled for youth protection. If you have not watched the youth protection video that is online right now, that talks about Kiwanis policies and procedures, I would encourage you to do so. That may give us a meeting that we can move some other information into. And then, of course, we'll take Monday or Sunday, May 24th off for Memorial Day weekend. And not knowing where our stay at home, safer at home, wherever that will be, we'll go from there. So we're moving right along. I think this has been a great opportunity for us to share, and I hope that you have found it interesting and don't feel as overwhelmed. I'm thinking after sitting at a training for 4 or 5 hours, it's like, wow. So spreading this out a little bit has been, to me, I find very useful. I hope that you have found the same, and we'll be asking for that feedback. Shirley will be sending you a survey as well. So, Greg, any comments?
Yes. Within the next week, each of you are going to be receiving a book in the mail. It's for going to Lieutenant Governor-elects. What we'd like you to do is to read the book and then give feedback to Sue, Fran, and myself about what did you like or not like about the book. And then what is the one thing that you are taking away from the book? And do you think it'll help you during your year? The book is called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. It's a very easy read, but just let us know what you think of it.
Okay, and I know you announced last week about our new Kathy's retirement.
Yes, Kathy's last day is May 8th. There will be a small, and I emphasize small, get-together, very small get-together at the district office on May 8th. That'll be your last day. You may have seen the emails, but Tom Toledo and Denny Kiroff are putting together some things to get Kathy, and they will be at the office to present those to her on May 8th. And then we have, I think I announced it, and so I think she's going to be, very, very pleasantly pleased, if not stunned, by what's going to be happening. So I have heard placement of Stacy Hill, and Stacy is going to be working with Kathy this Friday, and then they're going to kind of work together throughout next week to get Stacy up.
Hey, Greg, on that May 8th, if we're still under a stay home and stay in place, how are we going to be able to? Any of us that wants to go, we're not going to be able to go.
That's right.
So why wouldn't you want to do this at a time later when we all can go? Because under these conditions, it'd be only you.
Well, I wouldn't. Okay. How much late? I mean, okay. Okay, we can talk.
Later seems to be indeterminate right now.
Later could be August or September, and I don't know if that's,
Yeah, but the point is that we, under the governor's, we can't come unless we wear a mask and we stay 6 feet apart, and it's.
Okay. All right, but I will say, Kathy is not very good with crowds at all. She didn't even want to go to a Kiwanis meeting because there are too many people. So to have a big crowd